Dear friends and family, this is the very first video for my new channel. I was wondering what should be my first topic, and then a sign came from the heavens in the form of rain. And it rained, and it rained, and it rained. Many of us in Malaysia count ourselves as lucky. Tropical cyclones usually miss us. Earthquakes and volcanoes are almost non-existent. We are literally in a safe zone, but because of this, many of my friends and families don't know what to do when there's a potential flood coming. Right now, thousands of residents are in evacuation centers. My heart goes out to them. Many have lost everything, their cars, their bikes, their home, their electrical appliances, and this is literally a week before Christmas and in the middle of a pandemic. Here are some tips that I learned from my friends and colleagues that were victims of the flash floods that I like to share with you. I hope you never have to use them, but you can share this with your friends or colleagues or families who might be facing potential floods. Tip number 1. Here are some pictures that I saw. Some of my friends and strangers were taking pictures for their Facebook and Instagrams with the house lights on. Sure, when taking photos or videos, you need lighting. Videos like from this TikTok girl, Dreamgirl13. She's walking around in ankle-high water with the lights on. If you haven't figured out what can potentially happen, it might shock you. Yeah, literally, it might shock you. You don't have to wait until the water reaches your lowest power sockets. More people die from electrical shocks in water than shark attacks. Now, there isn't a movie like Jaws about electricity. Most of the time, the shocks can kill you, but more often than not, it's the drowning after being shocked, falling face down into water. That is even more common. Now, this is well documented in China because of the street camps all over the cities. Now, people who get electrocuted in water tends to fall down, and getting to them is risky because the water itself is electrified and it prevents rescuers from reaching the person. Now, if this happens at home, less people might see it. Turn off the power at the first potential sign of flooding in your area. Unplug the TV and the fridge and move all your electricals to higher floors or higher ground. Now, moving the fridge might be a problem. Leaving the power on is not only dangerous, but should the water get into the electrical systems, it will likely fry the wiring to the whole house. Tip number 2, leave your auto gate open. If you're staying in a landed property and have a gate that's auto, leave it open. Even if you don't cut the power yourself, a nearby flood can cause it to be cut. Perhaps by the local council, or the waters can knock out your local power station.
It's okay, Lily.
Or even trees can just fall down on power lines. If the floodwaters come, you can't move your car to get out of the way. Your gate is stuck, you can't move your things to higher ground, and rescuers can't get over the gate and fences. If you're afraid someone's gonna steal your car, trust me, insurance will likely reimburse you for your car if it's stolen, but if your car is flooded and you don't have flood insurance, it's likely a total loss. So you still have to pay installments for the car, but you have no car. I was volunteering in sending supplies and food to the Johor Segama floods back in 2006. Now, one thing I learned from that round was not to call the people who are in flooded areas if you can't help. Think about it. The power is cut suddenly, and all you have left is your phone with no way to charge it. Maybe you might have a power bank lying around. That's all fine and dandy, but my friend who was stuck in the area had people calling her non-stop just to ask, "How are you?" And when she said that she really needs help, it's an emergency, most people didn't know what to do or how to help her. And with every call, the power just goes down. And what do you do when you call someone in a flooded area and the person doesn't respond? You keep calling, and with every call, the ringer kept on ringing, which also depleted the phone even faster. She needed a boat to get out of the house. And when we got to the area, there was no way to call her, and the water was still high. Even though we were in 4-wheel drives, we couldn't get to her, but eventually we got her out and she had to climb the auto gate. Now, I want to talk about other general tips like having flood insurance, car flood insurance, food, candles, and moving to higher ground when you're advised by the local councils. Just plan an escape to stay with your relatives. That's all pretty common. And to add to our misery, there will be water cuts. Wait a minute, there's so much water and you're gonna cut water? Yes, pumping stations are affected by flooding. Water is contaminated, sewage is everywhere. Oh, don't worry, I'll just order delivery. My friend, food delivery bikes can't swim to you. Supermarkets and restaurants are of course also closed thanks to the floods. Today, Sunday the 19th, the authorities also announced they had to release water from some of the dams. Now you might be wondering, why release more water when there's already flooding? Especially for the rivers and areas connected to those dams. Cause they're full. If they burst, it's gonna get a heck of a lot worse. So they have to release the water today if they can, because we are lucky there is a brief respite in the weather, because here is the forecast for the next few days. I am no expert at forecasting weather, but I study atmospheric science as a subject in university, so I'll just leave a link to the Meteorological department in the description below. This might help you predict or plan ahead for future weathers. And with the rise of floodwaters, we have all sorts of animals from the rivers and swamps seeking shelter, sometimes in your home. Check this out, even koi fishers from private ponds are having fun on our streets. This must be an awesome time for them. So I do hope one or two of these tips will be useful to you, to either you or one of your friends for future events like this. And if you're asking, will this kind of thing happen again with global warming and rising seas? Yes, it will happen again. So friends and families, this is all for me for this week. Do subscribe and enjoy future episodes from me. Thanks for watching.